Welcome to part 3 of this working on the interior of the car. So what's the plan for today? We got the seats done on the last video, we got the carpet done on the last video, and we got the headliner and everything painted on the last video. So what's next? We need to do these gauges, and I'm going to remove this one and put it up here. And then I got a new plastic bezel piece that doesn't have screw holes in it that we're going to put there. That way I got a clear shot of the gauges without anything blocking my view. We also got the gauges for the climate control. That's what we're going to start off today, and then we'll move on to the other stuff later on in the video. So the good thing, since I've been putting the interior back together, I don't have this piece on, so it's going to make it super easy. All I gotta do is remove this screw and that screw, and then I should have access to that. There we go. And yeah, that broke, and that broke. Fun. I gotta find a new one of these now. Okay, I stuck them in real quick. They come with some adhesive you just can stick on, and then pretty much everything else holds it in as well. So as far as this broken tab here, I just used a washer to kind of clip on there until I can get a better solution, either buying a new one or somehow making a tab. What's next? I guess we could do the gauges and get those set up, and then we can do all the wiring one time when we do these gauges. So we got to get this bezel off first so we can get to the gauges. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead lower the steering wheel all the way down, and just because we have the ability to, then to make our life easy, we're going to take off the steering wheel. Maybe. What am I doing wrong? Okay, that was eventful. The bugs are coming out. We might have to continue this tomorrow, but you don't have to worry about that because for you it's not tomorrow. For you, it's the same video. We're going to put that on the side because we don't need that now. I'll get a short, stubby screwdriver to get to those ones. Okay, so I got the new panel. So I won't have to deal with one with holes in it. Got the shorty screwdriver. And so while I'm doing this, I just want to talk about these seats real quick. To me, the factory seats are way more comfortable than these. These are like rock hard. Like the other ones, you kind of sink in a little bit. Maybe because it's old and worn. But these are like really firm, and the bolstering isn't too crazy, so it's not like it really hugs you tight or anything like that. To me, the factory ones actually, hold you tighter this way. These, I think, have more bolsters going that way, but because I can move around some before I hit them, where the factory ones are kind of angled and kind of tucks you in there. I wouldn't upgrade the seats because you think it's going to hold you better with this style of reclining seats. If you're into racing and stuff, get like fixed back bucket seats. Those will actually hold you in. They won't be very comfortable either. But if you're just worried about comfort, just stick with your factory seats. The only good reason really to go with these is your factory seats are really horrible and bad, or you just want to have the look. And for me, that's what it was, is I just wanted to have the look of those seats. And the reason why I chose Sparkle is I wanted it to match the steering wheel, because my steering wheel was a Sparkle branded steering wheel. I figure it would be kind of cool if everything just kind of matched and went together. Okay, bezel's out and this is coming out. We'll go ahead and unclip it from the back here. All right, it's out. Separate this plastic and we'll peel off the white gauges. Took the old gauges faces off. There they are. And now I'm going to put some adhesive strips on it, and then we can go and grab the new gauges and just lay them on top. Okay, so I got the gauges stuck on, and then just ignore the electrical tape because those are all the lights I do not need to see. Either they don't have anything to do with my car, or I have things that may trigger them to be on, and I just don't need that negativity in my life. And then for the airbag light, same thing, but I put the electrical tape on the back of that one. So one issue I'm having is the wires getting pinched in there, so I'm gonna take a drill bit and make a little notch here, and do the same thing on that side so all the wires can go through without getting pinched. Actually, before I notch it out, I got a spare one of these, like a whole cluster spare. But I'm going to try and paint this the same silver as my door trims. Just see how it looks. All right, I don't know how I feel about the silver yet. I mean, I don't think it looks bad, but I think it's too much grayish. I might put the black on. Or I might just run this for a little bit, then switch it out later. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm going to run this for now. Well, I should have been working on the car today, but instead I'm trying to clear up space in my garage so I can get the car in here. And I'll probably do the wiring inside here at night when it's a little bit cooler because, you know, too hot. Florida issues. I used my mini skid steer to drag these on the side, which made things a heck of a lot easier. Now, in order to get this car into the garage, the battery's dead, so I need to charge it. So far, we're up to 11.8 volts. I'll let this go overnight, and hopefully it'll have enough charge tomorrow to be able to start the car, turn it around, and bring it into the garage. Also, once I get this done, as far as the wiring on the car, I am going to need to get the car back out because I do actually need to install that AC system. Although my AC is currently working, but it has a slow leak, so I got to keep putting some R12 in there to keep it alive. Yeah, at $100 for a small bottle of R12, you know, every, 4 to 5 months maybe, it can add up. So I really just need to get that AC in, and maybe they'll save me some money on my electric bill too, so the AC doesn't have to run like 24/7. It's an inverter style, so instead of like a regular AC system, it's either on or off. The inverter style is pretty cool because it like ramps up. So if you don't need, full AC, it just runs at like partial throttle and only uses partial electric, which is kind of neat, I think. Also, just so I can do something today, I'm missing this clip on the other side. So I got some new OEM ones. Also, I noticed that one, the little piece that sticks up is broken. So I'm going to replace that one too. But we got the clips. Put them in. It goes this way, I think. There we go. Easy. And they weren't that expensive either. All right, so now that side's done. Let's replace this side. Okay, I'm going to try from this groove up here. See if we can pop it out. There we go. Let's put this one in. There we go. Now my bumper should not sag. Well, hopefully the battery is charged enough for it to start. 12.8. But that's with the tender running, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So let's start this thing up and see if it'll start, and then if it does, then we'll move it in there. All right, I just plugged in the gauges, so moment of truth. Grab the keys and start this guy. Perfect. All right, let's get the battery tender unhooked. So this is the sound of the factory exhaust, the Nismo factory exhaust. So this part of the clip is going to be used in another video. There we go, car is in the garage. All right, now the car's back in the garage. Let's get some work done to this. So basically, the goal is to hook up these gauges, hook up those gauges so they light up, hook up those gauges so they light up, and move this gauge to the pillar pod. And then also I'm gonna have to figure out some way to get this to fit nice. So it'll probably involve some screws here, and I don't know what else. I'll have to maybe play with the heat gun a little bit and try and get that one fitted. But I'm dropping this panel because that's where all my power distribution is, right there. This is just a distribution for my power and ground, basically for my radio and DSP. And then this is a noise filter, so that way you don't get any like noises that shouldn't be in the audio, like alternator wine or something. All right, so I got the gauge pod out, and so I think what the plan is I'm gonna drill out holes in the back for the wires to go through in these little squares, and then I'm gonna try and screw this to make it a little tighter. It doesn't even necessarily need to go all the way in, all the way through, because that little trim piece will cover, most of it if I can get it to fit right. Okay, so I put a bunch of screws in it. I heated it up so it doesn't flex out quite as much. So that's what it looks like. It looks like crap. So I'm gonna see if we can figure out some kind of strip to go across there. So I put a piece of weather stripping on there, and it does not look great, but it looks a little better than what it was, at least from this view, I think. And this view. I don't know. If you got any suggestions on how to get this to fit on good and look good, let me know. This is my second gauge pod from Glow Shift, and the other one was just as bad as far as fitment goes. In fact, I got it right there. All right, so I disconnected it from the pillar so that way we can get the gauges put in. The gauges go in pretty simply. You just slide it in, and then there's gonna be some sort of bracket that screws in from the back side, and that's what actually holds this in. It sandwiches between the edges here. So I stuck the gauges in, got the brackets on the back. So this is gonna be fun, especially because I don't think these wires are gonna reach where I need to reach. So I'm gonna have to probably extend them. I'm thinking about using 9 wire because I think it's 18 gauge, and so I can just connect these to 9 wire and then just run the single 9 wire down to where I need it to. So when I'm talking about 9 wire, this is the 9 wire I'm talking about. It's basically one wire that has 9 wires inside, all different colors. Basically it's for audio. So I'm working on the wiring for the gauges now. I'm just putting all the same colors to the same color, like that. And then I got to get my manual for the Innovate gauge, compare it to this, just make sure that the colors are actually doing the same thing. My concern is I don't know how all this is actually going to fit in there. So to give me a little more space for the wiring, I'm taking this plastic piece off. I just drilled it out in 3 different spots. I'm going to leave this up there, and I'm going to probably cut it right there, so these wires, so that way the wires have a place to go without getting pinched. And then I just took some snips and cut a slit in there so I can pass the wires through. So I got that piece removed, and then so I'm just running the wires there. The little screw's actually holding that wire down. I pushed it down, put the screw in, so that way it stays there. I used some Testa tape just to kind of hold everything together. And so pretty soon we're gonna start having to deal with that. So the connection, the wire colors on the Innovate and the Glow Shift gauges is not the same, but I got that all sorted out. So everything's correct, everything's connected. So now we're gonna be almost ready to put this in. I gotta feed the wires that go to this plug and the wires that go to that plug up to the pillar. That way I can connect them when I go ahead and put this in. So the wires that had to run upwards to connect to the Innovate gauge, I just ran through here, kind of tucked it behind the dash. Now I'm just trying to get these wires down through and be able to fish it out somewhere in there. Okay, so I got the gauges mounted, and then I used a weather stripping because this pod doesn't fit very well. And I mean, doesn't look the greatest, but it looks better than having a gap there. So I got all the wires here, and basically these are for the gauges, and there's 2 of them. One for that, one for the actual gauges. So I fed the wires in the back, dropped it down, clipped it on, and only thing really left to do is connect it to power, ground, remote, all that fun stuff. Okay, so at this point I got the wire ends ready. So these 2 are gonna go to the power and ground distribution. These 2 is going to my fuse box. One is for ignition, the other one is for the headlights, which I'm assuming is going to dim the gauges when the headlights are on. Okay, so one thing to note with these gauges, they do not have like a dimmable function on there to work with your factory dimmer. Also, they do not have really the option to, like, you know, turn on when you turn on your headlights. I mean, technically you could wire it up that way, but basically these only have 2 wires coming out. They got the control box there, and basically it's powered by 2 wires. So you have power and ground, and that is it. So your adjustment for brightness and turning them on and off is these guys. You have your switch there for your brightness, and you got your other switch for your on and off. Well, I don't want to have those switches exposed, and I don't want to have to flip those switches every time I want to turn it on or off. So what I did is I just hooked it up to ignition power, so as long as the ignition is on, the lights will light up. I don't care if they light up during the day. So now is the moment of truth. Now that everything should be wired in, and make sure everything works before I, you know, pretty up the wires and put everything back. Let's put the ignition on and see if everything lights up. And it does. So let's take a closer look. That's our HVAC panel. Looks really good. It's a lot brighter than what the stock one was. Well, I got the brightness fully up, I think. That's the gauge cluster. Now, the only thing I don't like is this right here. Maybe I can change the LED bulb on there, but when I turn the headlights on, it lights up orange, amber, or whatever, which does not match anything else on here. So that's something I'm going to look at in the future. Then we got our gauge pod, which we did. Let's see, it's not perfect, but to me it's it is acceptable. Then for my gauges, this is our Innovate PSB1. This reads AFR and boost. Second is our voltage gauge here, just so I know what my battery voltage is, especially with how common alternators go out on these cars. It's good to see your voltage. Boost. Why do I have a boost gauge when this reads boost here? And that is because you can only have one main thing on here. So I can put the AFR up top and then make the boost big. But then you have a hard time reading both. I like having an analog gauge for your boost so I can physically see it, but all the data logging is all done through that gauge. So that's just a reference for me. Now, why do I not have things like oil temperature, oil pressure, things like that? And it's because I don't want to have an overload of information. I got the information that I feel is important. I need to see my AFR easily. I need to see my boost easily. And I want to see my voltage easily. Those are the 3 things that's important to me. If I run low on oil pressure, the oil pressure light will come on. Although it will be probably dangerously low when it does that. Hopefully I don't ever have any oil pressure issues. So the only thing next, which is not going to be on this video, would be adding a boost controller, which I plan to put that here. I got to go pick that up in a few days. That's the Add W1 gauges overlays. That's Indiglow, and I think they look really good. That is a glow shift gauge, and innovate gauge. So that concludes today's video. As far as what we're going to do next, I'm not 100% sure. I might do the exhaust next. I might do the cooling system next. I might do the boost controller next. I don't know. We'll have something coming up in the future, hopefully in the next week or 2. And so thank you for watching. Aloha. Peace out. Catch you on the next one.